Ladies, gentlemen, and others, welcome to the Sach-a-Leen Guy podcast. I'm Sachleen Singh, and I'm your host for today. Today, with us, we have someone who I have seen working so hard behind every tournament I have played at the Arkansas State University. You'll always see him sitting calm behind the desk when everyone else is bombarding him with questions about the pairing and the tournament. Sometimes to ease the situations during the lunch break, he even prints out a few puzzles so that the players can remain sharp and calm. It's someone who I haven't played a lot of games over the board, but the few games that I have played, I have never managed to get the better of him. Ladies, gentlemen, and others, please put your hands together for Zachariah Carlson. Hi. Hi, Zach. How you doing?
Doing excellent. How are you?
I'm doing good too. Thank you. So, how did you start playing chess, Zach?
I started when I was a kid. When I was about 10 or so, my parents taught me and my brothers and my sister. And we had a wooden chess set that my dad had made when he was younger. One of the sort of folding out wooden chess set with some carved pieces on the inside.
Right.
And we played that a lot. And eventually we played it so much that the board fell apart. But at that point, we kind of moved on to, regular chess sets, plastic pieces, the roll-up boards and stuff.
Right.
And it just kind of carried forward for me into high school and then through the rest of my life. So for the last, 25 years, my siblings, not so much, but it's been a big part of my life for quite a while now.
Oh, wow. So, how much are you rated again? Like, I think we've never played in a tournament.
Not as high as I'd like to be.
I guess that's
I'm only rated about 1400.
Every player. Oh well, then we're on the same ballpark. Even I'm like around 1400. So
yeah,
well, I think you definitely play around a good high 1800s since like what I've seen you play.
When I'm on top of my game, sure. Sometimes I have a little bit better insight, but frequently no. I make blunders even on games that I should be winning. It's very easy to, once you're past the 1400 level, you can't make too many mistakes because the people you're playing are also above that level and they will capitalize on it.
Yeah, that definitely happens in a lot of games. And well, they say, right, that the most difficult game to win is the one you're already winning, because there's no errors and the the player's looking for any sort of mistake that you make and to capitalize on it.
And you've been thinking so hard to get to that point where you're winning that you're tired. Yeah. You've been putting the mental energy in, and so if you think, "Oh, I'm winning now, I can rest a little bit," that'll kill you.
Yeah, that's true. All right then. So I believe you're gonna watch a game of yours.
Well, yeah. There's a quick game here. So we're at the beginning.
Yep.
All right. So we have a queen's pawn opening. Offering the queen's pawn gambit, which he declines and leads into a Slav, which goes into a semi-Slav. This is all very, very common.
Right.
Played this game hundreds of times. I save the castle, and the point here for both sides is to crack open the center.
Right.
It's just a matter of who's going to do it first, who's going to have the most advantageous opportunities. He wants to push his e-pawn forward all the way so that it's forking my bishop and my knight. So he begins that journey. I have a little bit more tempo, so I can take first.
Okay, but what would happen to if you when you played c takes d5? What if he just goes with e5? Is it no? But it's not defended, right? It's not.
Sure. So I'm deviating here, creating a variant. So he goes ahead and pushes forward. I actually have two attackers on this, so I can take with the knight, or I can take with the bishop. He's only got one piece that can take back. So once I take it, I'm up material. So he can't do that just yet. And that's sort of the point of taking this pawn first. It takes away the second defender that the e-pawn has as it moves forward.
Yeah.
And so this is why he takes back to reestablish that second defender. So now he has the pawn and the knight defending. So I've got to move either my bishop or my knight.
Mm-hmm.
So I move the bishop out, pin his d-file knight.
Right.
And this also is very, very common. Nothing really unusual has taken place yet. He pushes forward anyway to stabilize his position. He has a little bit more space now because he has a pawn on the 4th rank, whereas I don't have any pawns on the 5th rank. So space-wise, he's sort of establishing dominance there in the center.
Yes.
I, of course, have to move my knight. He castles finally. This was a little bit passive. I was trying to avoid a6. So if I do something else, that's just letting him push me around and establish more space. So I wanted to avoid that.
Okay.
He starts chasing it anyway with his knight, and that's a really good move on his part because currently the knight is blocking in the light square bishop for him, so he can chase my bishop, which I've already invested a lot of moves into, so I don't want to trade right away. And he knows that, so I'm forced to move. And here's the reason I chose this game. A really nice sacrifice on the part of black. And this is a reversal of what's commonly called the Greek gift sacrifice. Mm-hmm. It usually happens when white does this to black. But in this particular game, he's trading his bishop for a pawn.
An h2 pawn, yeah.
If I don't take it, if I just move here to get out of check, I'm down a pawn for nothing.
Yeah.
And my king is beginning to get more isolated from the pieces that can protect it. So I go ahead and take the bishop back. He throws in another check. And of course, if I move back here, he's coming in with a checkmate that I cannot avoid. And that's the point of the Greek sacrifice. You temporarily lose your bishop, but you gain so much power with attacking speed and pieces. So the surprising defense here is you have to move your king forward. Right. It's not strong. White is definitely losing at this point. But it's equally surprising how long you can hold on. You see here where I move 14.
Right.
It goes on all the way to move 27 before I throw on the towel here. So my pieces are jumbled up here, and I've got technically a little bit of material from taking their bishop for my pawn. Right. So I willingly sacrifice my knight back to equalize on material to get an attack on the queen, and get some pieces away from my d2, c3 squares so that I have a little bit more freedom to move around.
Yeah.
Of course, he moves the queen out of danger, goes back, attacks the knight, and of course, at any time, he can move his knight, g-file knight, out of the way to get discovered check. So I'm always mindful of that. I get out of the way, defend the knight, but of course,
but before,
then the fork comes in.
King f3. Did we have something else to actually look at?
Good question. So I can move the knight. For example, here.
Okay. But then knight e3 check.
Sure. And then I'm losing the queen.
Yeah. So I think the only place for the queen is either e1 or d2. I think because again queen c2 is met with knight e3. Queen d3 is met with knight to e5. So I think, and then queen e2 is also there. Queen e2 is there. but
Queen
I
E2
don't
is dead
think
from.
it's there, but I don't think it like supports anything. And then Queen F3 is
Yeah,
again Queen E5, so Queen E2 doesn't help with the position anyway.
it's very difficult to save everything. Something's going to go down, and it's really a question of what you're willing to lose in order to prolong the game and try to take the steam out of their attack. And that's a really nice side benefit of the Greek gift sacrifice. Even if it doesn't win outright
Uh-huh.
with someone who's not familiar with it, it still gets your opponent's king out in the open,
Yep.
so that it's susceptible to so much pressure that you have to sacrifice things in order to either equalize or get to a mere couple of points down,
That
so that
is
you
true.
can continue playing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So King F3 then. Okay.
I didn't see anything better at the time. And yeah, just looking at it again very briefly today, I'm still not seeing much that's better, because the king has to move out of the way. King can't move there because it's the same thing with the discovered attack from the bishop.
Mm-hmm.
Coming up here is just
But then the knight goes to
very, yeah.
D5 also. And yeah, that also is that. So, oh yeah, knight no, knight cannot definitely no. Yeah, knight cannot go to D5. Bishop supports that part. Yeah. So, okay. Why didn't you take back immediately?
Yeah, that is a good question. With this being a few years ago, I don't remember the mindset I was in. Uh, of course, the obvious thing I'm doing here is setting up a discovered attack on the queen, trying to channel what he was doing to me. So if he does, something foolish or tries to save the knight, then I can.
Also, you anyways have that tempo back, right? So you've gotten
Yeah.
that knight anyways. So, okay.
So he comes in. I finally go ahead and trade. I believe I'm just repositioning here. Yeah. Yep. Because if I didn't move, I mean, it's protected right now from the bishop, but if instead I'm trying to bring out a rook, he can begin attacking, or attacking like this. He can create pressure at any time.
Yep.
My bishops are really poorly placed.
But what if instead of rook c1 you played queen g1? Oh, when he played rook e8, queen g1. Oh, no, it's like now he played rook e8, right?
So right. So
And then now queen g1.
trying to trade the queen.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no, but not actually trading the queen, but pinning the g7 pawn, because then you get f6. Now any kind of move, like you can actually go to, like you can, like you're threatening queen, knight f6 check, picking up the rook. So I think the only move would be either trade or go to queen h5 h4.
So this is the trade down version.
Yeah, but then you just have,
And like you say, he doesn't have to trade. He
so you can go
can
to queen
come
h.
back with a check.
Oh yeah, that check too. Yeah, but once you go king
Mm-hmm.
king f1, oh no, king f1, maybe king e1, you still are threatening. You still are threatening the knight
Yeah, of course.
f6 check.
Yeah, of course.
So
So, for
yes.
example, and then
Yep.
yeah, that would absolutely be deadly.
Yep. The good thing is that the f7 pawn is also somewhat weak. That's what I think, because the bishop going back to b3, pinning that pawn, maybe like has something in the air, I would say. But yeah, carry on.
Where are we? So yeah, just getting the knight so not so far advanced, repositioning. He's continuing on the attack.
Right. Okay.
And here I think, yeah, here's where I called it and resigned, because there was nothing left for me to attack. The game could continue on from this position.
Oh, but especially the queen and the king both tied down to the defense of the knight is somewhat difficult, right?
Yeah,
And then also
you want to believe that there's some kind of option here where where this queen and rook on the g file are threatening g7, but
why wouldn't he
pieces are
just
so much better
take back
coordinated.
directly? Isn't it?
I wasn't showing that as a move. I was showing that as the direction, because I can't quite do the.
Yeah.
I don't know if the green arrow shows up for you.
Yeah, it does. It shows up.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Well, never mind then.
Yeah.
So we're trying to penetrate here, but the black pieces are so well coordinated that there's nothing that white can do that gets around that coordination.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, that's that game.
Yeah.
And again, it was very, very normal up until about this stage.
I think bishop to, like, I think taking back was it like d takes c4. I think that's where it started, isn't it? Because e5 was inevitable after the take back, isn't it? e4, sorry.
So
as well.
At this stage, it's inevitable.
Yeah. So e5 is coming in, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So like there's no like, so the f3 is basically gone, isn't it?
But that's not the losing point. That's not the inflection point, because again, this is the e5 coming in is quite common. It gains space for black, but black's not just outright winning here, because white can come back. Say we pursue a different line. We just do some trading. We can crack this open. There's black has nothing that's attacking this backwards pawn, and it has two knights that are threatening this position, and one knight that's threatening this position. So white has a lot of power to just kind of smash open the center, get rid of all of the pawns, and then just have an open game. So even having the black pawn here, that doesn't kill white.
Right.
Unless white plays poorly, as I frequently do.
Yeah. But yeah, I like f3, but the thing is that like still black gets the bishop pair, and then also right when you play f3, I think a couple moves down the line maybe white opens it up, but till then, like having a piece on d2, c1, and c3, the white seems a bit behind in development also.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very compressed here. Like, well, I'll say that one's good, but these two are just not working as optimally as they could. And I mentioned earlier how black had a great move, moving that out of the way of the bishop so that it could come in.
Right.
He doesn't use his white bishop until very late in the game, but the threat of the white bishop is extremely powerful.
Right. At
this point, like, this is as powerful a piece as the queen is, because of the threat that it poses if the white king moves to the wrong place.
Right. Also, it supports the the g4 knight pretty well, and like it's supporting it from like almost every attack. So the other knights are too far away. The white bishop on b3 is like way too far away for the bishop to attack.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
and if you compare, minor pieces
Mm-hmm.
uh, between the sides, essentially this and this are equivalent pieces. This is his advanced minor piece. This is my advanced minor piece.
Right.
And then this is his backwards minor piece, and this is his backwards minor piece. His is actually doing something. Mine is doing nothing.
Right.
So when you're comparing sides, you're familiar with the point system in chess, with
Yes.
pawns being 1 point, minor pieces being 3.
Right.
It's not just the value of the pieces that creates value in the position. It's position of the pieces that creates value in the position.
Yes.
And so this is worth more than 3 points. I'd say this is worth 4 points, and mine is worth 1 point, 1.5 points.
Okay.
Pieces are only valuable when they have the potential to do something, and you have to realize that potential by creating space for them, playing them. So,
and just for the viewers, I think the pawns are worth 1 point each. The minor pieces, which is the knight and the bishop, are worth 3 points. The rooks are worth 5. The queen is worth 9, and then the king is not like weighed with points because you cannot capture the king. So, yeah, I think it was an informative game, especially like how to build an attack. It's really nice.
every time you lose, you learn something, and
yes,
you see the white side Greek gift dozens of times, throughout the year, depending on who you're playing. It comes up much more often in casual club play than it does in tournaments, but you see it often. You don't see it as often in the reverse direction. You see kingside attacks, quite often.
Yes.
But they're usually of the nature of pawn storms or queen bishop combinations, rather than the bishop coming in and doing the Greek gift.
That is true. So yeah, welcome back after the break. So yeah, we were talking about the game that Zach and Mr. Chandler played. So it was an informative game. We did see a beautiful sacrifice on H2, and it was fun to watch. Yeah, with the fierce attack from the knight, queen, and bishop. So Zach, last time when we talked, we did talk about watching a movie called Searching for Bobby Fischer. I watched it yesterday, again actually, and it's on Josh Waitzkin, an American international master who at the age of 11 actually beat his first international master, a FIDE master actually. So he beat his first master at the age of 11, and he was playing against Ed Frumkin. And have you watched that game, Zach?
Not the entire game. The final position with the checkmate, with the skewer at the very end, when they're both frantically trying to promote, and the king ends up on the long diagonal. I've seen that part of it. Of course, yeah. It's very famous.
That's actually that's a different game. But yeah, that was one.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was actually that actually happened in the real match, but that was not against Ed Frumkin. So in against Ed Frumkin, Josh actually. So it's in one of his games. So if you are familiar with the Chess Master Grandmaster Edition software, Josh Waitzkin has his own tutorial series in there. So in that he shows his game against Ed Frumkin, and he sacrifices a rook, a queen, and then checkmates with a rook, a queen, like one rook, a rook, knight, and a bishop are working together, and it's such a beautiful game to watch.
Those are always the most fun games, where you're able to sacrifice the high value pieces,
right?
And then collapse the mating. Those are fun.
That is very true. So yeah, the whole movie is about Josh, who's a kid and starts learning from Bruce Pandolfini, again, a very well-known name in the chess world for endgames. And yeah, Bruce Pandolfini's Endgame handbook is like really, really good if you start like reading to it. Even the first few pages so gripping when you start looking at the positions and the puzzles. Why, Zach?
Uh, I'm gonna have to show a little bit of my own shortcomings here. I don't read chess books.
Uh-huh.
Uh, like I said, when I started playing chess as a kid, it was all like live action playing people,
Right.
and I didn't have access to the chess books. They didn't have any in my local library. I grew up in a small town. They didn't have any at my school library. So if you wanted to get into chess, you really just had to play people. And then it progressed to that point where I went to college, and I probably could have found books,
Uh-huh.
but instead I was playing online. And this was, in the early 2000s, before the chess online community was what it was, or what it is now,
Uh-huh.
where you have thousands of different well, not thousands, but dozens of chess engines, thousands of
Right.
people who teach online.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Pandolfini definitely is known for his teaching and for his books. Uh, I have not read them.
Oh, even I started a few, but then, as always, things come up and then you just leave a book midway. So even I started with Jeremy Silman's The Amateur's Mind and then also the Endgame book. Both of them are like really good reads. But so the thing is, so I didn't know about the movie, but I did started looking at Josh's tutorials throughout in the Chess Master Grandmaster edition. So I was looking at it, and he talks about a lot like investing in end games initially. Even in the movie when they talk about the Dalton Chess School, so the guy he was prepping against or playing the nationals against was Jeff Sawyer. The movie which shows has changed name, but anyways, he lost to him in one of the finals when Jeff played the hostage trap against him, and he ended up taking that pawn. And then he lost it when he was, I guess, age 7 or 8, and then he went back, drew that game against Josh. I think he drew against Jeff, then uh, one game against Jeff, and then he won the national championship for the first time. That's when that happened. So yes, that and then also when when he talks about it in his tutorials, he said that his rivals were always preparing traps for him. But then when uh, the game, as and when the game progressed, he went into his comfort zone, and they were moving away from their preparation. That's when you could actually see Josh playing real chess and like the art that we actually see in throughout the movie and the games of Josh's play. So I've really been, how can I say, inspired like learn end games from Josh Wadskin. And I think that was one real mentor. And the other one that I think inspired me the most was Grandmaster Yasser Sarwan. So he teaches in St. Louis Chess Club. It is quite famous, like all across and the world. And they also have the YouTube channel in which like Grandmaster Yasser Sarwan actually teaches and talks to his students about chess. And he has been commentating also like for quite a long time now. I still remember one of those world championship matches where he and Master Daniel King are commentating against Vishy Anand and one of the other uh, uh, players. So yeah, watching chess always has been fun, especially when
Yeah,
grandmasters like commentating, because they see a lot more lines than we do, and then we're like, why didn't he do this? And then we require an
so
engine to
quickly.
understand. Yes, like, and like lately I think I've watched a lot of like the Air Things Master, which I think Taimur Rajabov ended up winning. So he won it from, I think, I don't remember who came in second, but Magnus lost to Dubov, a young Russian grandmaster, and that was again a big, how can I say, change in the whole
Upset.
tournament. Yeah, upset. Yes, Magnus, and there were like really good matches that you could like actually see. And like the recent chess scene has like greatly emerged, especially during the lockdown time, because a lot of the tournaments are happening online. Previously they would like happening in person, so not a lot of streaming focus was there. But now, since everything is happening online, they're focusing on streaming at the tournaments, and like they're reaching uh, the population. I've seen like growth in people's interest in chess.
You mentioned Magnus, and I have this ongoing question of chess engines, of course, are well over 3,000 now in their rating. And I posed this question to Chandler a few years ago. I've asked other people as well whether human players will surpass a rating of 3,000 in our lifetimes. And the answer I've gotten the most often is no, because the chess rating increases exponentially,
Right.
right? So a 2,800 level player is an order of magnitude lower than a 2,900 level player, and so reaching that golden grail of 3,000 to the most of the people that I've talked to doesn't seem possible right now. I
Somewhere or
disagree.
the
I think we're
other,
going to see it.
I don't know. See, I think the thing is that I think we've seen some live ratings around 3,000. Not sure if anyone has crossed it. Most of them stay around the area of like 2,800, like up high 2,800s, and fall back to lower, maybe then 2,790 something, and then go back up again. So it has been consistently changing. I think constantly changing. Yes. Uh, and the good thing is that like there is a lot of chess happening, so it may be possible, but I think it's a bit more difficult than uh, we seem so like think so.
I feel like part of the problem is logistical, where when you're getting an increase in your ratings point, you're essentially taking them from your opponent. I don't think that's really how the math works out, but basically, in order to get points, you have to beat somebody else. And at a high level,
Right.
these super grandmasters, they're not playing enough games with each other to get those points.
Yeah.
Uh, so I think we would reach 3,000 faster if I don't know. I think just part of it is logistical.
But I also think that the classical games, like the World Championship games, they take almost like a month to complete. They're like it
Mm-hmm.
spans around like almost 11, 12 days, sometimes even more. And then they're playing like maybe one or two odd games a day, and those games like stretch for 5 odd hours sometimes. So like putting in that much of mental energy also requires equal amount of motivation, which I think with chess is not present right now. There are like, so at the topmost level, people are being awarded, with a good sum of money. But for people to actually keep pushing that, the top 10, maybe the top 20 in the world are like earning really good. But when you start like coming down from there, I think maybe even the national teams, yes, they're earning, but after that, it just is pretty, how can I say, less. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like, and yes, money is not like the only motivator. People devote life to chess, but that's like not always is the case, right?
Right.
So yes, if we are able to somehow like increase the amount of motivation, and then also like frequent number of plays, and then viewership, like chess viewership also requires, it to be more exciting. For that, people move it down to like blitz and bullet games, but then that's not real chess. Like the game which requires 5 hours to play has immense amount of art and immense amount of calculation in it, and they play almost very close to the chess engines, if you see. So I'm really
Yeah.
surprised by the accuracy grandmasters have, even with like rapid or like blitz games. Even when they're playing 5 minute games, they seldom miss like a good move. Where they could just actually win. Like when playing against Dubov in the Air Things Masters. Uh, no, not against Dubov, against Wesley. So I think Magnus missed a May in five or something, and then he got checkmated on board. Like that's very rare sight to see. But so something of that sort. It's very like if you're playing like Magnus on like in a traditional game 90 plus 30, I don't think he would miss such sort of things, right?
Right.
An interesting thing from this I remember is that Josh Watkins was playing one of his games against the youth world championship, and he was under 18 or something, and he missed a queen takes rook, and it was a free rook, and later on, like he ended up winning that game with the pressure he was putting. So he was in a good position. He just missed that, and but he still like he did not figure that out until after after the game his opponent told him that, oh, you missed. And the thing is that the queen was probably on like g7 and the rook was on h8, so it was like just one block away or one square away, and he still missed it because he was looking at the whole board and all that stuff. So
You develop tunnel vision. Yeah. If you're looking for a specific thing,
yeah.
even if you have something better right adjacent to you, if you're not looking for it, you're not going to see it.
Yeah. So this has
Um,
happened to me sometimes when I'm like, I calculate a variation and then reject it. That I know that if the opponent plays this, I'm better at this position, right? And then I calculate a different line where I think that is where it's more equalish or he's doing better. And then when he plays an inferior line, I still like make a mistake because I've like rejected it and I've forgotten it already. So I've done that in a few tournament games where I've just like thought about the better idea for my opponent and then just played the wrong move when he played an inferior move.
and time pressure can contribute to that. I'm not going to say, I don't
Yes.
know if that plays into it for you when that's happened for you,
Oh, it
but
does. It does.
yeah, time pressure in tournaments is incredible. Because you go in, like you say, not 90-minute
Mhm.
per side, frequently with a delay or an increment.
Yeah.
And it feels like forever when you started, but then when you've got 30 minutes left on the clock and it's still the game could go to either side,
Yep.
you feel it. It's like being under a weighted blanket.
Oh yes, that's true. And when we're playing like 20 minutes each, I think on like at Astate, like in one of those tournaments, and with a 20-second delay, that thing bugs me because the 20-second delay, it's what I usually don't play. So what I play is the Fischer time controls, which is like for our viewers, Fischer is when you make a move, it increments directly, whereas a delay, if you move under a certain time, like around 20 seconds, you like no time gets subtracted from your clock. So with Fisher time controls, the thing is that if you move pretty quick, you can increase the time. It gives you a visual satisfaction, but with delay, it is not. But I think with lower, like lesser time, it's better because then you've got 20 seconds anyways, and then you press the clock. It goes back again to 20, like whatever time is plus 20 seconds.
Do you have any strong feelings about the duration of either delays or increments? Personally, I don't think they should go beyond 10 seconds. I think any delay or any increment higher than 10 seconds is superfluous.
Well, well, depending on the like size of the tournament. So if you're going to get like all the games in one day or so, I think yes, 10 seconds should be the max. But if you like have good 5 odd days, then 30 seconds is like, like traditional tournaments, they go on for like in India. That's what like I've played. I've not played a lot of tournaments here. So in India, like if you're playing a tournament, it goes around almost like 5 odd days. Like you play 11 rounds in 5 days or 6 days, something like that. So it typically takes a week, so a day to like travel to that place, a day coming back, five like five days of playing or 6 days of playing with 11 rounds or something. Then that's a traditional time control, like 90 plus 30. Whereas if you're playing like rapid or something, then I think it's if it's 25, then it should be like 25 minutes, 5 seconds, maybe 10 if you're pushing it, but not more than that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Um, in the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer, like the central one of the central tensions of the movie was whether Josh should play, intuitive, aggressive chess, bringing out his queen early, that sort of thing, or if he should be more analytic, reserved, uh, play more book moves.
Mhm.
I'm sure that was heightened for effect for the purpose of the movie. Does he go into that at all in his um,
Tutorials.
courses
he
on
does.
Chessmaster?
Yes, he does. So he is not a proponent of bringing out his queen early. So to all the to all the viewers and chess enthusiasts, yes, bring out the queen early is not a good thing, and he doesn't support it. Uh, but that reminds me of a game of his against Grandmaster Sam Palatnik, and he plays this random move, Rook G1. So he's got his knight out to I think F3 or something, and then he plays his move like Rook G1, pushing like G4 and G5, and uh, and he's playing against a grandmaster, so they're not like very easy to beat. But he ends up like he manages to beat that one, and that's again a very good one to watch. So there are a few games like of I think Josh Redskin which are like worth watching. One is definitely Josh Redskin versus Ed Frumpkin. The other one is Josh Redskin versus Grandmaster Sam Palatnik. So that is a really good one. And then he also has a series where he analyzes four of his games against Grandmaster Larry Christensen, and no, one of his games with Larry Christensen, and then also where Larry. So there's a section where Grandmaster Larry Christensen also analyzes four of his games against Chessmaster 9000, which is the older version of the engine. So yeah, those places like where there's like always prophylaxis in the game. There's this dynamic threats, you know, just like as you said in the game, like the threat of the bishop was very uh, persistent with like the moves that you made. So the h3 square was blocked off because of the discovered attacks from the bishop in your game, right? So all those things they contribute to that part of chess. So I think that's what is the beauty, where you cut it.
There's so much going on. Yeah, you have to have your vision for what you're attacking, but you also have to have the wide full board vision so that you're uh, aware of what your opponent is doing as well. It's why people say chess is complicated because there are so many the pieces move in different ways, and then there are 64 entire squares you have to be aware of, and then there are the 32 pieces that are on those 64 squares. It's very
Yeah.
it gets very complicated.
Oh, it does, yes, surely. And then the thing is that the way it branches out, sometimes like when we're like probably solving the puzzles, it's usually like we see the correct moves, but in the wrong order. Sometimes you have to reorder the moves. Sometimes it's a sack before or a move later, and then all those branches actually cause out like the exponential increase in the calculation, and which for like untrained people like me who cannot calculate more than three moves ahead, it takes a lot of time. And then also watching, like looking at all those moves, like those small positional increments, maneuvering them, and like I just end up missing a lot of moves. Like talking about myself, especially when I'm looking at the positional side, and even the tactics. So when you were showing the game, I was looking at Bishop G4, whereas he played Bishop H2, and I was like, oh, that came out of the blue. So things of that sort happen quite frequently to me.
It's just practice.
Yeah.
You mentioned the bloom of chess streamers and people trying to make chess more exciting,
Right.
more fun, more relatable,
Uh-huh.
and there are. I kind of want to comment on the fact that there are a lot of ways that happens and a lot of attempts being made in that venue. Fischer was talking about this back in the 70s or 80s with his Fischer Random. That's how he was trying to make chess more exciting. Uh, there are shorter time controls, blitz, bullet. There's blindfold chess, which is kind of more for intermediate to advanced players, but it's a way of making it more exciting. And then there are chess variant games like Onitama. There's this 5D chess game where you actually create multiple like moves you make spin off a secondary board
Uh-huh.
so that you can see the branching that you were just talking about physically laid out in front of you, and you're playing the game in parallel with different paths, and you can switch which path you're on. So there are a lot of ways that people have been and are continuing to make chess more exciting or different than the way it's been for thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really interesting to see right now. I just wanted to comment on that.
No, yeah, that's true. And then also for our viewers, Zach with the Scarlet Chess Club has started live streaming chess puzzles and solutions, and he solves puzzles on live stream. So follow Scarlet Chess Club on Facebook. I think I'll just put that up for the viewers.
Yeah, please do. Facebook.com/Scarlet Chess Club.
Yes.
I'm currently doing it, I think, probably every Saturday.
Okay.
We'll see if it gets more frequent after that.
All right. So it's if you look down below Zach's video, I think you can find Scarlet Chess Club's ID and follow them, and solves puzzles online. It's a really fun thing to do. I was there with him in the last session. I was in the comment section pushing out like answers. So yeah, it's really nice to like see someone who's trying to bring chess up to this scale and promoting it in the university. So
I don't know if you want a response to that. I agree.
yeah, definitely. And then there's also other streamers like Hikaru is their academator. So if you want to follow chess, there's Hikaru who's streaming frequently. Academator is there. The bot has sisters are like streaming pretty frequently on Twitch, I think. And then there's plenty. So there's Chessbase India, who I personally follow. And then there's other grandmasters also who keep streaming chess for like my Indian viewers and American viewers. There's also St. Louis Chess Club's channel, which you can go out and check. It's a really good watch too. So I think that's it for today's podcast. I really thank you, Zach, for showing up and taking out time for the podcast and chess. Thank you for
my pleasure.
Podcast. Yeah,
absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Right. See you later, guys. Bye-bye, and thank you.